Okay, so at the beginning we will discuss tools that I will be using in this tutorial. If you've been watching my previous tutorials, you should know these tools pretty well. Some parts of this shelf changed since my last tutorial. So let's get started. The first icon is Combine tool. So if I will create a cube, I can duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D, and if we want to combine them together, I just press combine and it's done. Second icon is Separate tool. If I hit this, we can separate these two boxes. You can see right now the pivot of this box is in the center of the scene. If I want to reset this to the center of the object, I press Center Pivot. And we can also change the position of the pivot by pressing Insert, and we can move our pivot wherever we want to. By pressing Insert again, we can confirm changes that we've made, and it's done. So you can see I've moved this box a little bit, and these changes are visible in our channel box. You can see these values. We can change them, of course, if we want to. And very often we want to keep things clear, so we want to reset or defreeze these transformations, and this is the next button. Of course, if I press Freeze Transformations, you see that I've reset everything to 0. So the next button is Delete History. We can find this one here, Edit, Delete by Type History. And once again, selecting the object, we can see here a history of the changes that we've made to this object. And very often we want to delete history of the object, delete history of the operations that we've done on the object to keep everything clean and to make Maya work faster. So hitting this will delete history, or you can also press Alt-Shift-D to do this, and this hotkey will do the same. It's Alt-Shift-D. And the next tool is Split tool. This one is a very old split tool, because I'm using right now Autodesk Maya 2016, and in this version Autodesk removed this split tool from the menu, and to activate actually this split tool we have to type a mel command. So let's maybe do this. This is the command, and if we have our box selected, we can put this here, press enter, and our split tool is now active, and we can cut this box. So I have this on my shelf, of course, it's like a little script. I don't have to put this all the time here. And like I said, this split tool is pretty old. We can split only from edge to edge or from vertices to vertices. We cannot split things on the flat surface. Probably that's why Autodesk created the second split tool, and I will be using this second split tool also. And to activate this, we want to move to this modeling toolkit menu, and right here is this multicut tool. So this one allows us, of course, all the same things that this previous split tool, but we can also create splits on the center of the surface. And it has also some other features. If we hold a shift, it's like it's snapping in the center of the edge, so it's easier for us to make splits in the center of the edge or the polygon. And we can also create loop splits by pressing Ctrl. So we don't have to sometimes use this tool, split edge loop, which is pretty useful too. We can also use a multicut tool for this purpose. Okay, so what we've got here in this modeling toolkit. Of course, I will be using some quad draw for retopology, target weld. I'm not using this really too much, maybe sometimes. Of course, we have here same icons like on the shelf: combine, separate, smooth, extrude, bridge tool, bevel, add division. These are very basic tools, so we've got them here. If you want to use it, they are available. They are not on my shelf because I have some other stuff here. So let's move on. The next icon after the split tool is Inst. It's a little shortcut for me to create an instance and mirror it to the other side if I'm making something that is symmetrical and I want the second half be updated automatically. I have to create an instance. So to do this, I would like to first move my center of the pivot. So like I said few minutes earlier, press insert and we can move our pivot point by pressing the X on your keyboard. You can activate a snap tool, and we are snapping to the grid right now by pressing the X. So we can snap this pivot point to the grid and press insert again to accept the changes. So right now we can hit our instance. Right before doing this, we should of course freeze our transformations. So press instance and you can see we've got the other side of the object. And right now, if I will move parts of this one, the second one, it's updating all the time. So everything is fine, and doing this we should always check if the vertices are in the middle Okay, so the next icon is something like this, and what this is doing is just resetting the normals. And very often when I import a model from the other 3D package or from other application, I have to reset normals of the object, and I'm doing this by picking average, then set to face, and then for example soft edges, and then I know all my normals of the objects are pretty much correct. So instead of doing by all these three options, I have this little shortcut that is doing all these things for me in one click. So the next one is smooth, and let's select this one. If I press 3 on the keyboard, we can turn on subdivision surface, and we can of course move these things and work on this object. If we go to the attribute editor, we can see here under smooth mesh there is a preview division level. Default option is 2, and sometimes when we have a very heavy mesh it's too much, so instead by going to this menu and changing this manually, if I have for example many objects, I can just select the object and press this, and it will automatically set the smooth level to 1. So the next are just the icons for import and the export selection, just to save me some time. Another icon is move normal tool. And with this tool we can move our vertices along the normals. And we can use this tool, for example, to create a push effect. The next icon is split tool, so it's nothing fancy. Again, we've got here hard surface, hard normals I mean, and soft normals, soft surface. This one is delete selected polygons or components. So let's say I want to remove some of these loops. I can of course select them and press delete on my keyboard, but if we change our selection mode to the vertices, you see that we've deleted the edges, but our vertices are still here, so it's not good. Maybe we want to remove them also. So these options is perfect for this, because if we select them and press delete, it's deleting the edges and the vertices also. If we make a hole in the model, let's say like this, we can use this append tool to create polygons and to fill these gaps. And we can press smooth to make everything smooth and clean. Right now this is merge tool, of course. We can merge to the center the polygons, the vertices, whatever we want. Of course, for example, if you want to merge edges, we can do this of course too, but we can also do something like here, collapse edges. So I'm using also this hidden menu to access the other options, and right now I'm pressing G on my keyboard to repeat the last operations, which was collapse edge. Okay, so the next icon is extract. If you want to extract this part of mesh, we can hit this icon, and this part of the mesh is right now separate mesh. The next icon is reverse normals, and you can see what it's doing. It's pretty clear, I think. The next icons is UV editor, of course, outliner for the list of the objects, and transfer map for transferring details from the high poly to the low poly by baking normal map or ambient occlusion map. Ambient occlusion map is I'm also baking in the other software, which I will show you because it's faster than baking here in Maya. And last thing I want to show you is going to the preferences, and I like to turn off the color management because I don't need this. And what I want to do also is to set diffuse to 1 on my material, but it's not very important. Let's move right now to the UVs, and I have this separate shelf for this. So right here on my UVs shelf you can see some of the tools that we can find, of course, right here. It's of course combine, separate, center pivot, freeze transformations, extract. They are useful for me also, so I don't have to switch to this shelf. And of course the UVs and hypershade. This icon is a little bit useless right now because in new Maya you've got icon here for the hypershade. So let's explain a little bit these tools, these icons. This first one is creating a checker shader, and to make this work you have to have a UV, you have to have a checker texture somewhere in your hard drive, and you just have to replace this path with your own to make this script work, and this will create based on this checker shader. So let's do this right now. And of course the shader was created, but to apply it we have to hit this one. It's just assigning the shader that we've created to the selection. So for example, let's do this here, and right now you can see this checker shader have been assigned to the polygon. And we can of course select all objects, not only the polygons. We can just do like this. Okay, so these 3 icons are for creating planar projections in the faster way. Let's delete the UVs, and in the normal situation I would go here, for example selecting this top plane, and right here, and create this planar projection. Like you see, it's a little bit of going to menu, opening the window, so to make it faster I've created these icons, and you can of course do it by using these icons like this, and everything is working pretty good. Okay, so this is almost everything. All of the options that we've discussed you can find in the top menus: mesh tool, edit mesh, and UVs or mesh display. I've showed you also where to find delayed history, delayed by type history, also modify freeze transformation, center pivot, and that's it. To add your own icon on the shelf, you have to press Control Shift and then click on the options. So for example, if you want to add, let's say, connect, we press Control Shift and click on the options, and this connect tool is appearing on the shelf. We can click edit, and we can put label here. And then we can hit save all shelves to save these changes.